Welcome everybody. Adams Polishes Wednesday Live. Make sure you comment to say if the audio sounds good or not. I tried to adjust it. Chris is actually out right now, having a great time hanging out with his family and his cousins. And so we have our new guy Hamza behind the camera. So Hamza will be doing the camera work and asking questions. So go easy on him today, all right? but so this is actually Hamza's car who's behind the camera right now. It's a GTI and he tracks this car. Okay, there's a racetrack. How far is it, Hamza? Like an hour and 25 minutes like east of here. It's called High Plains Raceway, and Hamza takes this out there and he runs, he beats Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all this stuff all the time. But because he drives it so hard, his wheels heat up quite a bit, and he has metallic brake, or like he has brake pads with metallic material in it, so it actually bonds to his wheel surface because it heats up so much. So I actually cleaned these wheels yesterday, and I noticed this to where I was like, I got to do this on the live. So like if I rub this part, you can actually see the brake dust is starting to come off like onto my finger. And so sometimes when this happens, you can't just clean them once and it fixes it. Right? This is something where you need a very specific product to start removing that. And so in this video, essentially what I'm going to do is like walk you through. It's not all that complicated of a process, but it's about repetition. Okay. And like everything in detailing, we talk about this all the time. Like everything in detailing is like, we want to almost ride the line of like being too aggressive, but like still being aggressive enough to be effective. So kind of like when you're polishing a car, if you have compounder polish on the car and you are trying to remove it and then you push harder and then it causes scratching because you push too hard, then you have to go back and polish it again, right? So if we go way too aggressive on these wheels, then you have to get them refinished at some point. So what we can do is use the tools we have here at Adams Polishes to remove the caked on brake dust. It's just like a layer sitting on top. The one thing I will mention before I get into the process is if I don't have a jack here today, someone is borrowing it, but if I had a jack, I would jack his car up and I would take his whole wheel and tire setup off and I would put it onto our rolling wheel stand. Now, there's a wheel on here, it doesn't have a tire on, but what I wanted to show you is this allows you to roll the wheel freely to be able to have access to every portion of the wheel. So in Hamza's case, most of the caked on brake dust is in the back of the wheel, like on the barrel of the wheel. So if I was using it on the rolling wheel stand, I could flip it around and I could really focus on the rear barrel part of the wheel, and I could really, it just makes it a lot easier, if that makes sense. And the cool thing is this whole rolling wheel stand is made out of stainless steel material plus powder coating. So I'll use this outside to clean wheels. It's okay to get wet. And then when I take it inside, if anything, what I'm going to do is take an air cannon or something, blow all the water off of it. Then I can take it inside and do polishing. And then I can use it to ceramic coat the wheels as well. And we've done live videos on that before. So if you're interested in that, just go to our YouTube channel and go to the live tab on the top and then scroll through it and you'll find like how to polish and ceramic coat wheels. And I utilize the rolling wheel stand, which this thing's awesome. And it's pretty tall, so like even off-road wheels will fit on this and still work, so, but in his case, he has these low profile Continentals, which is for sure gonna work on this rolling wheel stand. So, and Hamza will ask questions when you guys have them, but we're just gonna kind of go into this. So, go ahead.
Will that wheel stand fit a large truck tire, or would I need a different size?
Yeah, I would say like it's gonna fit a pretty. I can't remember the specs on it. I think if you go onto the product page of the Adams Polishes rolling wheel stand, it tells you like very specifically the maximum size of like wheel and tire that you could do. So I think I have 17-inch wheels with aggressive like Falcon AT3W like off-road tires, and that even works on this. I can't remember, like they're not like 35s or 36s. I think they're a little bit smaller than that. They might be 34s, to be honest. but that worked on these. I used this when I first got those wheels because I ceramic coated them. So, you know, even like a 17-inch wheel with like a aggressive like off-road tire is gonna work most likely. So, and the thing about tires as well, especially like off-road tires, is like the tires are shaped, like the sidewall is shaped like this. It's not concave, right? So like wherever the point of where your tire touches, that's what's gonna roll on this part of the rolling wheel stand. So, you know, even if it is a little bit taller, it might touch like right here and still work, if that makes sense. But if anything, like what I would tell you is, if you go on the product page and your tires are too big for it, then you can still take them off and, you know, just kind of roll them around. And it's better to take them off when you're fully detailing and ceramic coating wheels than it is to keep them on there. You have more access to it. So, got any other questions? Not right now? Okay. Now, before I get started, I do want to say this. The product we are going to use for sure is wheel cleaner, okay? So, I mean, all of you guys are familiar with the wheel and tire cleaner and the wheel cleaner, but just to give you a little background, wheel and tire cleaner is an alkaline formula, okay? So the alkalinity really works well on the rubber, but it doesn't attack metallic brake dust. So, you know, cars that are like that Ram 1500, probably not gonna have too much metallic brake dust coming off of it. More of a performance car is gonna have that. So attacking brake dust directly, wheel and tire cleaner it's not really, and I could even show you, it's not necessarily gonna remove caked on metallic brake dust. And that's the thing about this is it's metallic because when his wheels heat up, the metallic particles from his brake pads, when it heats up, it gives the metal particles a place to adhere to. And that's what's happening on this car. So, and I know from yesterday cleaning his wheels, I know for sure that this is metallic brake dust. And I'll show you why I know that here in a second. But the wheel cleaner, which has been in our line for a long time, has something in it called thioglycolate. And thioglycolate is a raw material or raw chemical that actually attacks metallic particles. And the same thioglycolate that's in our wheel cleaner is the same thioglycolate that's in our iron remover. And the iron remover is the thing that pulls out the metallic particles that are embedded into your paint. So same kind of concept, but the difference between wheel cleaner and iron remover is that wheel cleaner is a gel formula. You can kind of see it in here as I move it around, but it's very much a gel formula, and it's designed that way because on a wheel surface with so many different, you know, a wheel surface that it sits kind of vertical, we don't want it to run off too fast. We want it to sit and dwell on the surface. And so with a wheel, you know, you have the barrel, you have the face of the wheel, you have the spokes. I want something that's gonna get sprayed on and stick there and let the thioglycolate dwell and work for a longer period of time. Now, thioglycolate, when that touches a metallic surface, it turns purple or pink, okay? And that's actually the natural reaction of the thioglycolate breaking down the metal. And so what you'll notice is, like I said, I cleaned these wheels yesterday. So if I spray this on here and it turns purple, then that means there's still metallic brake dust on here. And so what I want to say is when I'm doing something on a surface like this wheel, and by the way, these wheels are painted. If these wheels were raw metal, like billet aluminum, or it had like a billet aluminum lip to it, kind of like this wheel, this is raw metal. Okay, if I sprayed this on here, it would stain them because the thioglycolate in this is going to attack that metal to try to break it down. So it will stain a portion of these wheels. It's not going to stain the face of them, but it will definitely stain the lip. So if he had any raw metal parts to this wheel, I would not be using this product on here, okay? Also, if you have very like delicate finish wheels, I wouldn't recommend this product, but these are painted. So these wheels are just fine for me to do this process on. The other thing I want to say before you start doing this, make sure the wheels are cool to the touch. Like you want to be able to touch them. Like if Hamza goes to High Plains Raceway, drives his car aggressively and then pulls off the track and his wheels are hot and he sprays this on, it's going to damage them. Okay, so make sure these are cool to the touch before anytime you're using metal, or anytime you're using wheel cleaner.
So Mark wants to know how similar is Eco Wheel Cleaner versus that wheel cleaner, and will Eco Wheel Cleaner turn purple too?
That's a good question. So Mark brings up a good point. We have a third wheel cleaner in our line called Eco Wheel Cleaner, and he's wondering what's the difference or similarities to the regular wheel cleaner, or even wheel and tire cleaner. Eco Wheel Cleaner is the least aggressive of the wheel cleaners that we offer. Essentially, Eco Wheel Cleaner is almost like a soap mixture. So Eco Wheel Cleaner, like for like this wheel, I would use Eco Wheel Cleaner on this because it's not going to damage the raw metal finish. If you have super delicate wheels that are aftermarket and you spent thousands of dollars on them, I would recommend using Eco Wheel Cleaner. Now, the thing I will say about that is 99.9% of the time, if you have super expensive, delicate wheels, or you have raw finish wheels like this, they're not generally on daily driven vehicles, okay? Most daily driven vehicles, or like wheels like this that get tracked, are gonna either be powder coated or painted. So generally on cars that are more performance based, the wheel cleaner is gonna be a better option for you, as long as it doesn't have the raw metal finish or super delicate finish to it. And I would say too, like a car with super expensive delicate wheels or raw finish wheels, raw metal wheels, those don't get driven as hard or as much as like a car like this that gets tracked. And so, you know, that's a car that I guess you could call it a garage queen, but maybe doesn't get driven as much. And so Eco Wheel Cleaner is for sure going to clean them really well, because they're not going to be nearly as dirty as wheels like this. Another question?
Yeah, Jason wants to know what you would use for carbon fiber wheels.
Yeah, so carbon fiber wheels, you know, if they're not too dirty, I would use the Eco Wheel Cleaner. If they are extremely dirty, I would probably still use Eco Wheel Cleaner. If they're clear coated, like if they're carbon fiber and then clear coated with paint on them, then I would say like the wheel cleaner is just fine for that. You know, so, but the only thing I would say is like today, okay, great example. We have a ton of cloud cover. This is one of the coolest days in Colorado in the last probably 2 months. It's been 100 or just below 100, like 97, 98, 99. Today it's about 81. And so I don't have direct sun hitting this wheel right now. And so what I don't want to do is spray this on and then let it dry and sit for a very long time. So what I'm not going to do is spray this on this wheel, go to the next one, spray it on, go to the next one, spray it on, go to the fourth one and spray it on, and then come back and try to clean this wheel while wheel cleaner's drying on the rest of them. I want to do one wheel at a time, and I'm going to make sure that the wheel cleaner doesn't fully dry on the surface of this wheel. So yeah, carbon fiber wheels, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but a carbon fiber wheel generally isn't going to be driven like daily or it might get tracked, but like it's not going to get as dirty as like Hansa tracks his car, but it's also his daily driver. So like it just is constantly having output of the metallic brake dust touching and adhering to each other. So
Got one more from Chester. He wants to know why the wheel and tire cleaner isn't thick like the wheel cleaner.
well, yeah, Chester wants to know why the wheel and tire cleaner isn't as thick. It's still somewhat of a gel formula. It's still pretty thick. It's not a full gel formula like wheel cleaner. And you know, with this, we wanted something that's gonna spray a larger spray. To be honest with you, I end up using more wheel cleaner than I do wheel and tire cleaner when cleaning wheels, because when I spray this, it atomizes and spreads out. I don't know if you can see that. When I spray wheel cleaner, it's like a straight stream, so I end up having to use more of this. And so when I'm cleaning wheels and tires, I want to be able to spray a wider fan of a spray to cover the entirety of the wheel and tire. And so wheel and tire cleaner is still a little bit more thick, so it's still going to stick and adhere and let this product dwell, but it's not as thick as wheel cleaner because, you know, I need to cover a bigger area versus wheel cleaner. I need to cover a smaller area, if that makes sense at all. But it's not like detail spray, you know, thin. It's still a little bit more thick, kind of like maybe a little bit less than wheel cleaner, but still enough to like stick and adhere to the surface.
questions.
Yeah.
David wants to know if the wheel cleaner is safe on gunmetal paint.
Gunmetal paint. Is wheel cleaner safe on gunmetal paint? Yes, because generally gunmetal paint is not. It's clear coated, so you know the clear coat it'll be just fine on that. And so, unless your car is either a DeLorean or a Cybertruck, I wouldn't spray this on either of those cars. Okay, or an Airstream trailer. Okay, those are like raw metal finishes, not clear coated. Okay, anytime it's like raw metal finish, stainless steel, aluminum, you want to avoid getting wheel cleaner on those surfaces. But yeah, gunmetal paint generally is going to be like, you know, there's the primer, or there's a substrate, the primer, the color, and then clear coat on top of that.
All right, and then the second question, I'm not sure if we can actually help with this, but it's, is wheel and tire cleaner going to be available in 5 gallons?
Oh, is wheel and tire cleaner going to be available? I think this person actually asked on Facebook.
Joseph.
Yeah. Joseph, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw you post on the community page. You asked the same question. I think it should be, but I would say that's more of a question for like customer service. So I would either email orders@adamspolishers.com or call 1-866-965-0400. I sound like an ad right now, but if you call that number, they're gonna have a better answer to that. I don't necessarily know like inventory stuff like that, but I don't see why we shouldn't have it, but it's maybe worth a call, you know. So can I jump into this? Okay, so traditionally when it comes to wheel cleaning, I would come in and I would spray the wheel down. Okay, because if I don't have caked on brake dust, I want to get as much of the wheel cleaner off. Now there's a little bit more unique of a situation because I had cleaned these wheels yesterday. And so I did spray them down first and then sprayed the wheel cleaner on even when they were wet. So if you think about it like this, let me just do it. So you guys, well, I'm going to wait actually. If I spray this down and there's water on here, any of the water is going to mix with the wheel cleaner and almost dilute it a little bit. What I want right now, because this is caked on here, is I want the full power of the wheel cleaner working. And so I don't recommend doing this all the time. This is a very unique situation where I'm actually going to spray the wheel cleaner directly on because I almost need the full strength of the wheel cleaner. And what I want you to notice is I'm going to spray this on here. It might be kind of hard to see with a black wheel, but you'll see the purple start to activate like immediately, because as soon as it hits, I'll just spray a little bit right here. As soon as it hits the metallic brake dust, it's gonna react purple. I don't know if you can see, it's like a dark purple because it's trying to break, it's breaking down the metal particles from the brake dust that are on here. So I just want you to see that. And the other thing I'm gonna show you guys is that if you look inside my wheel cleaning bucket, I have all my tools I need. I might, for right now, I probably don't necessarily need the tire scrub brush or the fender brush. Honestly, I don't even need the fender brush for this car because I don't have enough clearance to use it. So I'll just set these aside for a second. What I want you to notice is after I spray this on here and clean it, when I dunk my brush in here, you will see how dirty these really are and how much is pulling off. So wheel cleaner, I'm trying to spray all the surfaces that have the adhered or caked on brake dust on here. So I'm going to be, you know, you might end up using a little bit more of wheel cleaner during this process because this is something you probably have to do multiple times, and that's what we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes. But I know there's some on the spokes, so I'm going to try to get some onto the spokes. I'm really just kind of getting everything right now, but I'm for sure spraying it into the barrel because that's where most of the caked on brake dust is sitting. So like that. So now you can really see when I like swipe my finger on this, it is like really breaking down. It's like purple, but like black because the metal's coming off. Can you see the purple on my finger? Yeah. So it's like immediately working. So essentially what I'm going to do right now is just wait for a couple minutes. I'm not going to let this dry completely, but what I want to do is let the wheel cleaner dwell for as long as possible up to the cusp of where it feels like it's going to dry. And once it gets to that point, then I'll start using the brushes. So kind of this point, this part of the segment is watching paint dry, but we're not going to let it dry all the way. But oftentimes what I'll do is I'll spray an excess amount like into the barrel of the wheel where there's the most caked on brake dust, and I'll spray a little bit more thin area like onto the spokes. So once I see this starting to get close to drying, then I start going after it, you know. Yeah, any questions right now would be great.
Awesome guy at 77 asks, I just got my P&S brake buster. Did I choose wrong?
You got P&S Brake Buster. That's actually a really, really good product. It's revered as one of the better wheel cleaners on the market. I've used it and I like it a lot. It's actually very much in line with our wheel and tire cleaner. And, you know, I would say, I can't like speak on their formulations, but very, very similar product. I would say the way ours is formulated actually does a little bit better of pulling the brown out of tires. And so, yeah, the P&S Brake Buster is a great product. But for a job like this, where you're trying to attack metallic brake dust, it's not the right product. Okay, like it doesn't have any like iron removing quality to it. It's more of like an alkaline formula like this. And I'll probably show you after I like rinse this off, I'll show you like when I spray this on, it's not going to turn purple. It will look purple because this product is purple, but it's not actually going to have that thioglycolate reaction. And you can see just from the wheel cleaning running off a little bit how black that is. That's like all the metallic brake dust. It's like it's the thioglycolate in wheel cleaners like melting it and pulling it off. So, but that's a good question. P&S is like, you know, the crazy thing about the car care industry is like most everybody's like friends. Like Adam especially knows everybody in the industry and everyone respects each other. I think we're all kind of in this place where like we just want to get cars clean. And so, you know, depending on the product used doesn't really matter, but like every time we go to SEMA, which is like a big automotive convention with everything. I mean, they have like performance wheels, performance like engine parts, but also the car care industry is there. We always like to go around and say hi to everybody because everyone's kind of has a common goal, which is to inspire people at home to have the best products to clean their cars, but also like, you know, work with the professional industry to provide them with the best products, but also get feedback from them and see like what's working, what's not, you know. So yeah, we don't have any ill will towards anybody in the industry. We end up seeing each other at everything anyways, so it's like you end up creating friendships and all that. Yeah, 1 second. So it's getting to the point where I need to start using the brush, and I'm actually going to start with the angled wheel brush. And one thing I will say is I have this in my bucket with clean water. If I take this out and I start going, I'm going to use all the water that's incorporated into the brush, and it's going to start diluting it. So what I like to do is actually wring this out, especially, you know, if you're just cleaning these on a standard day, it's not caked on, I would recommend probably keeping the water in there. But this, I'm going to wring the water out, and then I'm actually going to spray, oh, I sprayed the wrong product, spray wheel cleaner onto this to kind of give it some lubrication, but also still the power of thioglycolate to clean. So I'm going to stick this in here, and all I'm doing right now is, you know, if I'm just cleaning this wheel on a normal day, I would just do this like kind of quick. I'd be getting in the barrel and then I'd also be trying to get behind the spoke. But in this case, I'm gonna like do certain thing, like one thing at a time. So right now, I'm gonna focus on using the angled wheel brush to really scrub the barrel of the wheel and focus on that right now. And the one thing about Hamza's car is I don't have enough clearance for where his caliper is, right? I can't shove this in there. And if I do, it's gonna get stuck, and then hopefully he doesn't crash, but it could cause real problems. So I'm gonna avoid going behind the caliper right now. And what I would end up doing is moving the car forward like 2 or 3 feet or backwards to expose kind of the section where the caliper is, where the barrel, and then it would bring it like to here, and then I have access to it. But again, that's kind of why I suggest taking off the wheel, because you would have access to the full barrel the whole time. So I'm just taking this, scrubbing the barrel of the wheel as much as possible. Maybe go back like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times maybe. And you can see like it's really, there's still so much caked on brake dust on this car that what I'm doing is, instead of, you know, trying to be super aggressive at removing, like abrading away the metallic brake dust, I'm letting the wheel cleaner melt it away and then agitating it to get it off, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna do that for right now. Okay.
Question from, well, this is more of a suggestion from David Boyce.
Okay.
He would like to see, I'm sorry, from Chester Thomas. He would like to see a demonstration on undercarriage cleaning at some point.
Undercarriage cleaning, okay.
And then we have a question from Blue Line Automotive and Aviation Detailing asking if the wheel cleaner can be used as an iron remover for paint simultaneously as a clay lube with a synthetic clay mitt. Will it damage the mitt like a traditional clay bar?
That's a good question. And so I'll just address the first portion of that question, which is, can wheel cleaner be used as an iron remover? The answer is yes, but I do recommend using like our actual iron remover. The reason being, and actually as I continue to explain this, I want you to see when I put this in here what happens to this water because of like how dirty this wheel is. So you can see like how much I'm pulling off. And again, like I said, this wheel was virtually clean because I already cleaned it yesterday. And so what I'm going to do again is spray more wheel cleaner on here. And now I'm going to focus on the spokes of the wheels, because there's definitely like caked on brake dust here kind of on this inner lip, but also a little bit on the spoke. So I'm just going to use, I could use the spoke brush. We have one. It's called the spoke brush. That's a great tool for this, but I'm just grabbing the angle wheel brush by the neck, and I'm going to do my scrubbing on these portions. But to get back to the iron remover question is, yes, you can use wheel cleaner as an iron remover. The one thing I will say is that, like, if you spray wheel cleaner directly onto the surface, it doesn't cover a very big surface area because it's a gel formula. So if you notice, like if I spray this down onto the ground, it's just like the spot that I sprayed is about that big, right? So like you would end up spraying a ton of wheel cleaner on the paint of the car to utilize as an iron remover. Now, what you can do is dilute the wheel cleaner down to make it less of a gel formula, so it does cover a bigger surface area. But anytime you dilute a product like an RTU product like this down, it's not going to be at full strength. And so iron remover, our dedicated iron remover that we sell, that's the name of the product, that is already a thin formula. So that sprays onto the paint. And I might even run in and see if I have iron remover so I can show you the difference. But essentially, the iron remover is going to cover a larger surface area, allowing you to do your iron remover job a little bit easier. I'm going to rinse this off really quick, and I want to see where we are. But after I rinse this off, I might run in and grab iron remover, and then I'll address the like using it as a clay lube as well. So. And you'll see like how much purple comes off of this thing as I rinse it. And again, that's like the reaction of the thioglycolate in wheel cleaner melting away the metallic particles. So, oh my gosh, that did a lot of work, Hamza. So there's still a lot in the barrel, but like on this lip right here, it significantly got reduced. Like you can kind of see it. I don't know if you want to come focus in like right here, but right where my finger is, You can still see it's caked on there, but before I started, it was caked on all the way up here. So it's really melting away this like the metallic brake dust that's adhered to the finish. And so I can still see, like, in the barrel of the wheel, it's still pretty bad in certain areas, but it's showing that we're doing a ton of work, okay? So let me run in and grab iron remover for a second, and then I'll come back out and I'll continue with this process, but I'll explain some other things. Oh, I have iron remover right here. There we go. So this is the iron remover, okay? And I'll show you over here the difference between the sprays. So this is wheel cleaner when I spray it. Do you want to focus on? There you go. So when I spray this, it covers that much of an area, okay? When I do iron remover and I spray hard, it covers like a bigger, like the spray went all the way out here, okay? So it covers a bigger surface area. And because you use this a little bit more thin, so kind of like this, when I use iron remover, I'd be maybe 2 feet away and I'd move my hand as I spray it, and I could just cover a bigger surface area. Whereas wheel cleaner, if I sprayed this, it's like I did like one line here, one line here, and one line here with wheel cleaner. With iron remover, I did like this whole area overlapping with my sprays. So the iron remover is a little bit more efficient when it comes to utilizing it as a iron removing type of product. Like I said, you can dilute wheel cleaner down, but it makes it less effective because you're essentially, you know, cutting the performance in half by adding a ton of water to it. And so that honestly is why we sell both of these separately, if that makes sense. Now, to talk about iron remover as like a clay lube, I personally, if I need to do an iron, like decontamination would be like the blanket category for like clay bar and iron remover. You're taking things off of the vehicle that can't be removed by washing. That's bonded contamination. So you're going to decontaminate it. And so when I use a car, so you can tell Hansa drives his car hard because this is all turning purple because his brake dust is just like hitting the whole side of his car. I'm actually going to rinse this off. Okay. But you absolutely can use iron remover as like a clay lube when you're doing like the maximum decontamination process. And actually we have a video on our YouTube that I think is like how to, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's something along the lines of like how to decontaminate and iron remove your car all at the same time. And that video outlines how I would use iron remover and the clay together. And I think in that video specifically, I used the Visco clay bar that we sell paired with the iron remover to do all of that. But the one thing I will say about like the iron remover process is that, again, it's aggressive like the wheel cleaner. So I don't want iron remover to dry on the surface of the car. Okay, so I don't want to spray it on the whole car and then like let it sit for a long time and then like rush and chase getting it off the car. I personally, when I do that process, I like to work in different sections of the car. And so, like for example, just so you know, like kind of the process, which is outlined in the video I'm talking about. By the way, the video is like a terrible picture of me holding like iron remover, and then behind me there's a white car that looks like all purple because I was doing the iron remover process. So if you can't find it from the name, that picture describes it. So I would go to like our YouTube channel, click on videos, scroll down, and then you'll see it there. It's probably like a quarter of the way down. It was when we did a big video series in Arizona. So like a lot of the YouTube thumbnails look the same, but that one specifically, it's like a white car behind me with purple all over it. But essentially the process would be like, you know, you wash the car. So like you rinse it off, you foam it down, you use the wash pad to like go and wash the car. And then instead of rinsing the whole car off, what I like to do in that is I'll work in small sections when I do the iron remover and clay process. And so let's say that I get to a point where like I've fully washed the car. I'm not going to rinse the soap off yet because the soap is going to neutralize the water. So it's going to eliminate from getting water spots. So if I go and I rinse the whole car off and then I do my iron remover process like here, that whole side of the car is dry and getting water spots. So I leave the soap on the whole car and then I'll rinse off like just this door, just this section. So I'm like kind of controlling the development of water spots while I do this. I'll rinse this door off. I will actually take a drying towel that I don't care if I'm not trying to fully dry the car necessarily. I'm not necessarily trying to fully dry the car. And so I'll just take maybe like we have a great white drying towel that's pretty good, but I'll just quickly get as much water off the surface. Should I just show them what I'm talking about? Okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's really hard to describe, but yeah, hold on one second. Let me just show you this really quick. You can stay right there, Hamza. I think I have a little bit. Nobody wants to hear me talk and talk and talk. I'd rather just show them. Ugh. So I have mega foam here. And so essentially, like if I was gonna wash this car, and I'll get back to the wheel here in a second, but I think this is a kind of an important thing to think about. But you know, if I was gonna wash this car, I'd rinse it off first, right? And then I would foam the car down. And yes, I put the mega foam directly onto the foam cannon because I'm gonna turn this down, because this essentially, if I spray this, it's just water, and then as I turn it up, it's going to start pulling the mega foam out of it like that. So then I would foam the car down like this. Okay, take this off. Put this back on. I would wash the car. I have a wash pad right here actually that I used yesterday. So then I would wash the car like so. If I scratch your car, Hamza, I'm sorry, but I won't scratch it. Flip the wash pad over. Always lock and unlock your car over and over again.
Yeah, if you tap the handle with the keys in your pocket.
Yeah. So we wash the car, and this would be like simulating like I did the whole car.
How many uses do you get out of the wash pad?
Wash pad, you get quite a few. It depends on how dirty the cars are that you're washing them with. The more dirty they are, the more they're gonna like dreadlock up and not be super soft again. But if you're washing your car quite a bit where it's not super dirty, like you could get 10 washes out of it, you know. And I tend to always have 2 wash pads in my bucket. One is like maybe a little bit older, a little bit used, and the other one's more new. And as the older one starts to get ratty, then I only dedicate it to kind of the bottom section of the car, like the wheel wells right here. And then when it gets to a point where I'm like, I don't want to use this anymore, then I'll throw it out. I'll move the newer one to that, and then I'll just grab a brand new one and put it in my bucket.
3 more quick questions.
Yeah.
Should you use gloves with the wheel cleaner?
You don't need to use gloves with the wheel cleaner. You're just fine.
And
But it's very dirty. It like my hands were like purple and black yesterday, so to stay nice and clean. I mean, if you look at my shoes, brand new shoes, they got wheel cleaner on them, so I need to like steam clean them now. But go ahead. Well, before I do that, so I wash this with a wash pad. There might still be loose dirt and grime on here, which I don't want to use clay bar on. So I'll rinse this off really quick. So we rinse it off, and then I take the mega foam again. And because that's hard water, I'm going to neutralize the water. I'll refoam it like this. Refoam it, and now I'm not worried that the foam would dry on the car, because the foam will rinse off perfect every time, but I feel less, worried about it because the mega foam is neutralizing the water. So it's like more safe to have it sitting like this than if there's just hard water sitting on the car, okay? Now, before I answer one more question, I'm just gonna run inside to find something. In this case, I'm going to use the clay mitt, okay? And so I'll set this aside. I'm going to grab a drying towel. When you do this process, I recommend having a couple drying towels. And normally when I use the, why can't I think of the name of this? Ultra Plus drying towel, I use the side that the logo's on because it's like a finishing side. But in this case, I'm just worried about getting water off, so I'm going to use the other side of the towel. And so what I would do, doing the iron remover process, is I would keep the clay mitt in my pocket, like so. Or like maybe on a cart or something. Hans, I'm going to move your phone so it doesn't get wasted.
I forgot that was on.
And now when I do my iron remover process, I have my iron remover in my holster, aka my pocket, okay? And then instead of rinsing all of this soap off, what I'm gonna do is I'll just do the iron remover right here. So I just rinse that portion off, okay? Then I want the full strength of iron remover working on the car. If I spray this on here, it's gonna dilute it immediately. So I take my towel, and it doesn't need to dry perfect. It's just, I'm trying to get the excess water off of here. Like that. And then I take my iron remover and I spray it onto the car. It's okay if it hits the glass. Okay, and then we let it sit and dwell like we did with the wheel cleaner. Now on Hans's car, you're probably not gonna see a lot of the purple or pink coming because his car is red, okay? It's gonna like blend in. The other thing is, yeah, that's pretty much, that's why you wouldn't see it. On a dark color vehicle, you're not gonna see a lot of the purple or pink like we did on the wheel, right? You couldn't necessarily see it purple on the wheel, but then when we rinse it off, you could see it, right? So on his car, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to see the reaction of the iron remover. And then essentially what I can do is take my clay mitt, okay? I like to dunk it in some water so I have some lubrication. So that was car shampoo in that bucket, just like our standard blue car shampoo. And now I can take this and use it as a clay lube on the glass even, on the paint. So like this. Like so. And then I will rinse it off, rinse the iron remover off. Like so. And then what I'll do is, let me grab it really fast. I wasn't prepared for iron remover today. Racing against the clock with this hard water on there. I just need to grab detail spray, which is like my drying aid. And now I spray a mist detail spray on here to add lubrication for drying. And then what I'll do is I'm gonna flip the towel to the, ideally what you want is a second Ultra Plush for this, okay? So I would take my second Ultra Plush drying towel, use the finishing side, which is the side with the logo, and you'll see like when I wipe the glass, it finishes perfect. So then I would dry this section of the car. See how easy that is? And then the section that I clayed and did iron remover on, I would dry that. Like so. And that section's done. So, but I'm not worried, I'm not getting hard water on all this other area because I have the soap sitting on there neutralizing the water. So then what I would do is I would move to this section, and when I would spray it, I would aim away from the part I just dried to minimize the amount of water that gets on this section. So then I would rinse this part, refoam it, and then, no, not refoam it, what am I talking about? Rinse it off, dry it to get as much water off, iron remover, let it dwell for a little bit, clay mitt or clay bar, rinse it off, dry it. You know, and I could even in this section, if I wanted to, I could have even used like rinse aid diluted down as the spray to like add protection to it all at the same time. It's like you're slowly making steps around the car to decontaminate, iron remove the car, plus using, you could even use H2O garden gloss during this section and protect it all at the same time, if that makes sense. So that's kind of long drawn out process, but I bet if Hamza felt his paint now, he would be like, oh, I didn't realize your paint's supposed to feel like that. Yeah, question. Okay.
So Anton has a problem with his order in Hawaii.
Yes, Anton, he messaged me on Facebook Messenger, and I didn't respond because I was very busy yesterday, but I'm going to respond. I'm trying to figure that out. And I guess the thing what I'm gonna talk to them about is, can we have it shipped to like a FedEx location for you to pick up instead of like to a specific place? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. So I will get back to you on that. I'm gonna rinse the soap off this wheel because I need to do another round of wheel cleaning on this.
Do we make a water spot remover in spray form?
Do we make water spot remover in spray form? I would say this, when we launched that product, we did. And the problem with that is hydrofluoric acid is what that product is made out of. And so atomizing it into the air is, first off, not good for you, for us as humans. The second thing is, it was hard to control the overspray on the rest of the car. And the thing about hydrofluoric acid is, if you do not get it off of the car, off the surface of whatever it's on, it continues to work no matter what until you take it off. And so what we were having issues with was like, if I was doing like water spot remover like right here, and I like sprayed it, it would also go way over here. And then it could cause like staining or could damage other parts of your car you had no idea that the spray went to. And so we switched it to a gel formula and a pull top dispenser, so you can just put it onto a applicator and then like use it like this. But I will say water spot remover is a gnarly product. I work here and it's not my favorite thing. Like I damaged my shower door because I tried to use it on there, and shower glass is very much different than automotive glass. And so it actually made it like really foggy. As soon as I saw it, I grabbed a polisher and I polished my glass and fixed it. But not everybody has that ability to do that. So there's other ways to remove water spots that make it a lot, you're not going to cause extra damage, but you can still be just as effective. Like a clay bar works. Water spots is a weird thing. It comes in 3 different forms and phases, essentially. Like if I washed this car and it was hard water and I didn't dry it fast enough and I got hard water on here, and within an hour, I could essentially use detail spray or waterless wash to you know, rehydrate the dried minerals on the car and like get it off, right? But if I didn't catch it for a few days or a week, then the minerals that dried on the car, because essentially the way water spots form is hard water goes onto the car, the H2O or water in it evaporates and makes clouds, and then the minerals that are in the water stay on the car. So if you don't address them right away, it turns to scale. It's kind of like if you live in an area that has hard water, your faucets have white crustiness all over it. That's like the minerals that bond to each other and bond to the surface into scale. And then you either need a chemical removal or you need a mechanical removal. Chemical removal would be like hydrofluoric acid. That's what our water spot remover is made out of. Or you could do a mechanical removal, which would be like a clay bar. That's like you're abrading it off. And sometimes like the when it turns to scale, it's not quite the clay bar is not quite aggressive enough to get it off. So you could remove the scale, which is what the water spots turn into, with a polisher. You could polish it off with like compound. But what happens with water spots is the scale bonds to the surface and then it reacts with the UV rays of the sun and it turns that scale acidic, and now it actually starts to etch down into your paint. So now you have water spots that essentially have turned into scratches in the form of a water spot. So now at that point you have to polish it off because it's actually like down into the clear coat. So now you have to like polish it and make it look perfect. So there's like 3 stages to it, and we actually have a video on YouTube that talks all about that and shows demonstrations of it. So might be worth checking out. I want to show you guys something really quick. We have wheel cleaner. We're doing the wheel cleaner treatment on the caked on brake dust, but what I want to show you is if I use iron remover, I want to show you to see if it turns purple. And it should, because this has a thioglycolate in it. And if it doesn't turn purple, then our formula is messed up. But if you notice right now, it's already running off super fast, right? Like it's running off here, it's running all down here. Whereas like and you can see it's not turning nearly as purple or black. And the thin formula of iron remover just, it comes off of the wheel too fast. And it's like a very thin layer of thioglycolate. Whereas with the wheel cleaner, it like sits and stops and dwells on it. And it does more work because it's actually like dwelling on the surface. It's like giving it more time to dwell and work. So I just wanted you to see that like even if I spray iron remover on the thioglycolate in there, still turns it purple, but it's almost not as effective on wheels because it doesn't sit on the surface. Whereas like on the paint, you don't have nearly as much metal contamination or iron contamination to where like it's little spots of it. So you can spray like a nice thin layer over it and it's gonna attack the iron that's on there. So I'm gonna rinse this off really cool. Well, it's the same thing. So let's just do wheel cleaner on here now. You'll see when I spray wheel cleaner on, it's gonna sit for longer. And probably end up turning like more purple and black because it gets more time to do its work. Okay, another round of wheel cleaner. We're gonna let that sit for a little while. You can see it's still coming off, but not as fast, but it's way, way darker. Like it just, the wheel cleaner is allowed to sit there longer and work. More questions? Listen, no? I got a question for you guys. My question for everybody on here is, what are some topics that you want to see us do? Was it Chester that requested one? I can't remember, it was earlier. I'm gonna have to go back and look. Undercarriage cleaning. I'm gonna have to do that, but I have to find a specific place because I could try to show you a little bit. We don't have, huh?
You have to get it in the air.
Yeah, like ideally with undercarriage cleaning, like you want to put it on a lift and get it up so you have access to like touch the surface of it. We do have a tool. It's like an undercarriage sprayer. It's essentially like um, four pressure washer tips like this on like a nice round like tube, I guess you could call it, connects to your pressure washer, and you can like roll it underneath the car and like blast water underneath. But we currently, hint hint, maybe a new product, but we currently don't have a way to dispense like soap or cleaner or chemical into that to like spray it underneath and break it down. Like I would love to be able to do that, use that same tool, but like put all-purpose cleaner and like foam the undercarriage of it. But right now we don't have the ability to do that. So we have a product. They're like wipes in a tub. It's almost like the tub of towels thing, and they're like a little bit of an abrasive like wipe. They're like orangish. Those things for cleaning an undercarriage of a car are amazing. So if you can, even if you could get it up in the air a little bit, and then you could use a creeper seat where you lay down and like do that, that would even work really good too. You know, so those like the Adams Polishes cleaning towels, I think it's disposable cleaning towels. Those things are amazing, and you can even like use them to clean your hands. But you know, I don't think you'd want to see Hamza would be filming and half of my body would be under the car, and we could probably make it happen, but I'll have to figure that out. We might know some people with a lift that we could take it to their house and then do that process. But I guess back to my question is like, I would love to know more of the things that you guys, I don't think about the live video as like, hey, this product's really great. I'm like, you know, Hamza clearly has a problem with the metallic brake dust adhering to his wheel surface. And I want to teach you guys like, how do we go about fixing that, right? And all in the while, I showed you how to, you know, iron remove and clay the car at the same time. So any type of topics like problem solution, I would love to hear them in the comments, because I'm always looking for inspiration on topics and things like that. So, you know, even if it's like, how do you apply graphene ceramic coating or graphene ceramic spray coating outside in the sun? You know, that's like one I've been thinking about doing for a while, but I'm open to really anything, to be honest.
There's one question. How do I clean black windows? I don't know if he means tinted windows.
How do I clean black? We'll just say black or tinted windows. So the window tint is always on the inside of the car. And I don't even know if we have a product that is not safe on window tint. But I would say like one of the best ways to clean windows without like needing a cleaner is we have a product called Brilliant Glaze. That product is amazing at cleaning windows. Like it's a pull top again. You put it into an applicator, and it's almost like applying a wax. You just go over the surface with like the weight of your hand. And then what happens with that product, it's a solvent with like a little bit of wax and a tiny little bit of an abrasive inside of it. Nothing that's going to damage anything. And what happens is you put it on, then the solvent flashes off, and then it leaves like, you know, a chalky, like almost like you wax your car. And then you take a towel and wipe it off, and it's perfect every time. That's my favorite way to clean the inside of a windshield. I'll never spray anything on the inside of my windshield because Brilliant Glaze is a much better process to that. But Brilliant Glaze, really, that's kind of like Adam and I call it the cheat code or the easy button. Because like if you have a car that has chrome, glass, and paint, it just makes it all look amazing. That's very much a favorite at car shows. People will, you know, people like to clean their cars either before they go to the car show or the night before. And then when they get there, they'll do the Brilliant Glaze like on the whole car, wipe it off. And I'm telling you, it's an award-winning finish, because that's by far one of my favorite videos I ever made is how to get ready, or what do you do when you get to a car show. And that video is really cool because I show like what you can do the night before, and then I show like what do you do when you get to your spot at the car show, like what is the process you can do. And actually, if you watch that video all the way to the end, the guy's car I did it on, his name's Brad Rigoni. Okay, it's an old vintage Lincoln Continental Mark I, and or it might be a Mark II. I can't remember. No, it's a Mark I. At the end of it, he got best in show at the car show for his car looked so good. So it was really cool. It was like, I told him before we started, I'm like, I bet you're going to win an award. And he was like, nah. And then sure enough, like his car looked better than everybody else's. And it was cool to see that, you know, I told him he owed me like a burger or something. Cause I'm like, I got you an award, man. So, and it's funny now, he still does the same thing on his car, and he wins awards every time he goes to a car show. But I'm gonna go ahead and do this scrubbing treatment one more time. We'll see where we get after this, and then after this we'll kind of address it, look at it, and then I'll kind of explain like the next steps, and then we'll sign off. But you know, if you guys are sitting watching and you have some topics that you'd love to see from me here at Adams Polishes on our Wednesday Live, I'd be more than happy to. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm going back and forth on the area in the barrel of the wheel first. One thing I will say, you can kind of see on the rotor, the wheel cleaner is working on that because the rotors are metal as well. What will end up happening is, like, after I'm done rinsing this off and everything dries, this will look orange because it like has very minor surface rust. Don't be alarmed by that. All you have to do is, like, the moment you pull away and you brake at a stop sign or a stop light, the brake pads like remove all that surface rust. So that's a question we've gotten here and there. See, this is one thing I do want to say is, like, as you can see, like the purple is still very much present, meaning like the thioglycolate is reacting with metallic particles on the wheel. And essentially what I would do is I want to see the caked on brake dust go away. But essentially what you can do is, if you see it and there's barely any caked on brake dust, you spray it one more time and like the purple's not activating, that means that boom, you've removed all the metallic particles that are adhered to it. And it's kind of the same concept. We've talked about it with like wheel and tire cleaner or tire and rubber cleaner, is like, if you really want to get the brown, like the tire blooming and the browning off of your tire, you do it enough times to where you spray it on and you scrub it and it's just white foam instead of orange foam. That's how you know you've removed all of it. And that's a process I recommend doing before you apply like tire armor. But if you want your tire shine or tire dressing to look at its absolute best, getting all of the orange or browning off the tire is, you kind of almost, the more you get off from that, the better your tire dressing is going to look going on. So, you know, if you're the kind of person, like, I don't know if it's Chester, I think it's Chester, but like, I think Chester washes his car like 3 times a week. You know, he's not going to have as much of that of a problem because he's getting all the stuff off every single time he cleans his car. You know, I just want to get that out and then we'll spray more wheel cleaner on.
You've got some questions?
Yeah, more questions, please.
What is the handle made of on the brush?
This is the angle wheel brush. This is just plastic. And then this part is like a bigger, like almost like a foam handle. That was one thing Adam really was picky about on this, is like, we used to have other brushes that looked just like this, made by a different company, and the handle was rubber and tiny. And him and I would always complain about how our forearms would like cramp up because you're like gripping it so hard. He wanted like this bigger, like almost like a tennis racket size, or like my favorite thing is like, this is why I practice club face control, like golfing. But like, it's a little bit, you don't have to grip it as hard. And like, if it gets wet, it actually makes it easier to grip onto. So, by the way, if you have too small grips on your golf clubs, get them re-gripped with mid-size. You'll never regret it, because, oh, I always talk about golf. It's a real problem, Hamza, okay? Don't judge me. I'm old, I'm 40 years old, and I'm a dad. So it's like, you know, it's like either I wear like, you know, white grass stained New Balance all the time, or I golf too much. and I got the golf problem.
Oh, so this user is concerned about the red part of the stick making contact and ring spikes.
Oh, this is fine. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to damage anything. We pick that material specifically so it doesn't damage wheels. And also, like, if you look at these brushes, like this is the wheel face brush, it has rubber around it, so if it touches your fender, it's not going to damage it or scratch it or anything. So you're good there. I will say that, like, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this, but in the car care industry or detailing industry specifically, there's brushes too that look similar to this, but it's like this big, they have like these huge bristles like this, and you'd stick it in and clean the barrel. We don't sell that specifically because what we don't like is when you put it in here, when you pull this out, the bristles go back and then they fling wheel cleaner all over you. And it just makes, you get all these black dots all over your body, all over your arms, your face, everything. And because it's those brushes aren't angled like this, you can't clean behind the spokes either. So this angle wheel brush that we developed, we weren't the originators, but we kind of upgraded it to our specs that we like. It's more of a wool type of head or brush because it doesn't sling product all over you, and the angle helps you get to clean like even the hat here and behind the spokes. And so it's very intentional of the design of this brush that we love. I hope we're closer, Hamza. This has been sitting on here for a while now, but I think because of the humidity today and the cloud cover, it's like the wheel cleaner is not drying very quickly, which is like ideal day to like wash your car. No, that's like a free rinse, you know? It's like just leave the soap on your car and then it thunderstorms and then your car's clean, you're ready to go, you know? Okay. We'll rinse this off really quick and see the process we made. Yeah, I mean, look at the water now. That's like 2 rounds and it's awful. But look how purple it still is, you know? It's like, we'll get this off. And I would say, like, if this is something that you have, or like maybe you're a professional detailer and your client brings it in and there's caked on brake dust like this, you know, I would set aside or at least bill them for extra time because you're going to be out here cleaning wheels for a few hours rather than just like a quick wheel cleaning before you wash, you know? One thing I will say too, I'm very picky about all the little things of detailing. I'm very much into the details of everything in my life. Like, you could ask all the baseball coaches I coach with. I'm like, oh, his leg didn't go this way, went that way. You know, I'm like very in tune with the details. Same with golf. But I'm using the 40-degree tip to clean the wheels, okay? You know, in your pressure washer, if you have one, you have a 40-degree, 25-degree, 15-degree, and 0-degree. The 25 and 15 degree are generally a little bit better for using for cleaning wheels, but Hamza's car has this big center lip here, and if I use a more directional nozzle on the pressure washer, it's going to go in here and it's going to blast super far out. And so the 40-degree tip, even if I go over that center lip, it doesn't blast water out like all over me or specifically all over you guys watching through the screen. So, dude, that did so much work. That is so much better. There's still some kind of in the corners here, I can feel, but on the actual lip, it's almost gone. Like, I'm very close. Still some left in the barrel, but you can see way back there, it's like much better. Yeah. So probably what I need to do next, which Hamza will probably sign off here in a minute, but I need to, like, instead of the angled wheel brush, I don't know if you want to show back here again, but like instead of the angled wheel brush going like this, where I'm cleaning like the broad surface of it, I might even just turn this. I don't know if you want to see, can you see that? I might go back a little bit like that. I might turn it this way So I have leverage to clean kind of inside that lip. And you can see even with the wheel cleaner still on the brush, it's turning it purple. You know, so probably what I would need to do is, let me rinse this one more time. Like that. Now, probably what I'll do, let's see what happens when I spray this on here again. There is water on there, so it's like diluted. And actually, before I started spraying this on here, I thought of something for you guys that might help. But you can see it's not turning as much purple. Do you see that? It is in specific spots, but like I'm making a lot of progress right now, you know? What I was gonna say is, like, at the very beginning of this video when I started this process, I sprayed the wheel cleaner directly onto a completely dry wheel because I want the thioglycolate in the wheel cleaner to, I don't want it to hit water and metallic brake dust. I want it to just wheel cleaner and metallic brake dust so they work together. Well, the thioglycolate's gonna break it down and melt it, right? I just sprayed this on with a bunch of water on here, so it's kind of diluting the wheel cleaner a little bit. If you want to be the most effective at doing this process and maybe a little more efficient, I would have a forced air unit like one of our air cannons, and after you rinse it the first time, you could blow as much of the water out of it to get it a little bit more dry and then spray the wheel cleaner on, and it's going to go directly onto a more dry wheel. So that's like a tip that, especially like you can either do this at home or like a professional detailer, you can kind of make this process a little bit more efficient by maybe not 100% drying the wheel, but like 80%, and then spray the wheel cleaner on again. So you're not constantly diluting it every time you rinse the wheel off. So in the last time we did it, it was pretty effective because I had done the iron remover stuff. So like the wheel wasn't as wet as I just did right now, but you can still see the purple is coming off. It's down there, but you can see like it's not nearly as pronounced as when we first started. There's just like a little bit. It's mainly like right here where you can see there's still some of the metallic brake dust in here. You know, so I'll let this dwell a little bit longer, and I'll do the same process over again, and then probably here after another two more rounds of this cleaning, it's gonna be like where we want it to be, you know. So
We have one question which we addressed earlier, but is this product safe to let sit in the wheel finish and in direct sun? Are you supposed to use it, or are you supposed to use it quickly?
yeah, so that's a good question. I kind of addressed this question like within a conversation. It wasn't a direct question, but essentially, if you couldn't hear Hamza, this user asked, you know, is this product safe to use like in the direct sunlight and like let it dry on the surface? And the answer is no. I wouldn't let it dry and sit there for an extended period of time. Today's unique for us in Colorado because there's cloud cover. Generally there's not. And so I have a little bit more time to like let it sit. It's not drying very fast, but if the sun was right there beating down on this wheel, I would use it a little bit faster, right? I would spray it on, maybe wait 5 or 10 seconds instead of 5 minutes, and then I would immediately start going on. And in that case, you know, when sun is hitting your car, especially like, you know, this is probably steel, right? So like the steel of the substrate on the paint, and then also like the wheels are like probably metal underneath. If they're probably aluminum, I would guess. But what ends up happening is the sun's beating on it, the UV rays penetrate to the substrate, and now it radiates heat from the metal coming out. And so it will be 100 degrees outside, and you touch your paint, it's like 120 degrees. And so if you're gonna do wheel cleaning on a day like that, rinse them off first. It's gonna cool them down. The water's gonna pull all the heat out of them. It's gonna cool them down quite a bit, and then start your wheel cleaning process. You know, it's just gonna make it a little bit more safe. And I would say too, like, even though it might take me a little bit longer of during this process, if it was 90 degrees or more outside and the sun was beating directly on these, I would either flip the car around so I'm working in the shade, or I would rinse the wheels off first and then do the wheel cleaner. But I would just have to do more rounds of the scrubbing and the wheel cleaning process. So always weighing on the side of being more cautious than not is good with any car care process. You know, like in polishing, for example, like we always say, don't polish angry because you're gonna really get after it and you might damage the car. So being on the more cautious side is better than trying to be extra aggressive, because like for example on this wheel, if I got extra aggressive, I could damage the wheels and then I can't reverse it without repainting them, which is going to cost you way more money than like 2 bottles of wheel cleaner, you know. So just thinking about kind of that, weighing on the more cautious side than more aggressive, I would say. Yeah, think we're pretty good. I got a little bit more scrubbing to do, but we're probably going to sign off, and if anything, what I'll do on next week's live video, I'll show you what these wheels look like so you can see the progress we made. And yeah, I think it's kind of a unique topic, but it's something that I think you can really see, like, we have the right tool to do that, you know. And you know, like I said, we have a few different wheel cleaners. Each one are kind of dedicated to specific issues or problems that you might have with your wheels. But also, like, you know, Hamza's GTI is a performance car. You know, any kind of Volkswagen, Porsche, Audi, Corvette, Mustang, a lot of those, if they don't have super delicate wheels, they're painted wheels or powder coated, and they're not raw aluminum or raw metal like billet aluminum, wheel cleaner is going to be perfect on all of those because they're more performance based cars. If you have more of a stock, like a lot of the cars in this parking lot are just like your standard SUV, crossover, sedan, truck, you know, like an F-150 or Silverado, the wheel and tire cleaner, I would say, is even like a better option for those because you're not trying to attack metallic brake dust. So, and then if you do have super delicate wheels or raw aluminum billet wheels, our Eco Wheel Cleaner is the best option for that. So, and when you're using, you know, most of the time when you're using wheel cleaner to clean the tires, you would be using tire and rubber cleaner. Same thing with Eco Wheel Cleaner. If you're using that, you need something to clean the tires, that's tire and rubber cleaner. But wheel and tire cleaner is good for everything. And to be honest with you, I would say like wheel cleaner for performance wheels does better at cleaning the wheel surface, but wheel and tire cleaner does better at cleaning the tire surface. So I'm actually combining these together to clean like the tires. They probably won't turn orange because I cleaned these yesterday, but I would do that to clean the tires as well, and then use the tire scrub brush like this, just don't get in some water, and then scrub the tires. You can see it's like white foam as I scrub it. That means yesterday I removed all the tire blooming and browning and all that stuff. But sometimes if I don't necessarily have tire and rubber cleaner, I might use wheel and tire cleaner to clean the tires only, and then I'll use wheel cleaner to clean the wheel surface. So hopefully those are some decent tips for you guys. But as always, I love doing the live video, and I appreciate you guys watching. You know, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll get notifications of when we're live, so it keeps you up to date. And plus, when we release new videos, it will notify you during that. And, you know, I just appreciate your guys' support, and hopefully these tips help you guys, whether you're a professional detailer or just the guy doing it at home. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next week.